Today we have a very, very special guest joining us. We have pitcher from Kent State University, Eli Krause, joining us. And you had an interesting experience the other night when you were pitching in a game against Sam Houston State. And as almost all college baseball players do, you along with your teammates fill out a bio where you put random stuff and almost no one ever sees it. And Jim Levitt, the play-by-play guy, started reading some of yours off because he found them oddly peculiar. Let's just let it play and then go from there if we can.
And go on the team website, just see what you can find out about different guys. So you go to Eli Krause's player page on the Kent State website, you find out just a trove of information about the guy. As Blake Chisholm digs in, a little bit out of the zone, where do you even start? Is it the fact that he is a big guitar player, brings his guitar everywhere? Count runs even at 1-1.
Sounds normal, right, so far? Well, this is where things get interesting. And if you're a fan of the show, you'll know exactly where this is from when you hear it. So let's let it continue.
Let me go word for word what some of these are. For Eli Krause, he enjoys magnets. It's an interesting hobby. He fears goblins and ghouls, so let's hope that nothing pops out anywhere. Chisholm a fly out to left in the first inning. 1-2 up and away. What else we got here? Superstition is turning off every light 3 times to stay alive. I don't even know what that means.
Clearly, Levitt, who we will have on after this, didn't know that is straight from the show Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And that is taken from when Mac and Dennis are going to make Charlie a profile on an online dating site. And they begin asking Charlie questions to fill out the site. And those are the exact answers Charlie gives. So let's go ahead and get to everyone's favorite college baseball player now. Eli, how's it going, man?
It's going. It's not bad. It's been a little bit of a whirlwind, but it's been fun.
So when you hear Sam Levitt say he enjoys magnets, and for those who know, that's an Always Sunny in Philadelphia reference. And did you hear the announcer say you enjoy magnets, you fear goblins and ghouls, or that your superstition is turning off every light 3 times to stay alive? Did you hear him actually say that, or you had no clue? You were just in the game, right?
Yeah, I had no clue. It was just he said it over the air, and actually one of my buddies texted me who was watching the game from back home and mentioned it, but I didn't think anything of it. I just thought it was, it was funny that he said whatever he had said over the air, and somebody sent me the video a couple hours later, and I was like, he did me a justice by announcing it the way he did. It was funny.
He really did do it justice. And actually, we will have Levitt on later to talk about his end of all of this, but let's get back to what we were talking about. So the game ends, you get a text, you see the video, you start cracking up. But I wanted to ask, is this something you just recently put in your bio, or has this always been there? Like, when did you decide to put some Always Sunny in Philadelphia in your bio?
I put that in my bio two years ago during my sophomore year.
Okay.
I wanted to make somebody else on the team laugh who was also a Sunny fan. So I texted our SID and asked her to throw those things in my bio simply just for him to see it. And she did, and texted me and said it was done. So I texted him. I said, go look at my bio. And he texted me back cracking up. And that was kind of the end of it. I just never bothered to change it back.
So it was really just a joke. You wanted him to he could see it on, like, if you pulled up your bio on the Kent State website, it showed that in there.
Yeah, I kind of figured, not many people take the time to read that. It's not too often that we're on ESPN3 for a game, much less an opening series. So it was just for him to see, and it just so happened that Sam Levitt wanted to read it out loud over the air.
And so since that happened, what's it been like? I'm sure you've just been blown up. You've actually got a shout out from Caitlin Olsen from Always Sunny. I think
I did, yeah.
Did Charlie Day, he put you on his Twitter or Instagram or something?
He took the video that I posted and he put it on his Instagram and I think he just said nice one and tagged me in it, but it was pretty funny. Just the best part about all this is that I've been watching the show for 10 years, cracking up, and it's kind of cool to say that I made Charlie Day laugh, at least enough to put it on his Instagram.
Well, I don't know how you could have got it in there, but I was really upset that Milk State didn't somehow make it into the bio. I wanted to, since I'm a huge Always Sunny fan as well, and I wanted to see maybe if you knew I had some trivia for you.
Okay.
Just to see how you could do on it. So to stay with Charlie here, what is the Charlie sandwich? Have you heard of this?
Yeah, it's like it's like a fried like pancake or something with peanut butter on it and some assorted meats, and then it's basically like a ridiculous grilled cheese from what I took from it.
Like a grilled cheese with
Charlie.
Peanut butter. Yeah, the fried Charlie.
A grilled Charlie, whatever it is, yeah.
Let's see. All right, let's get on some other questions. What was Sweet D? She's got a disorder. What was she diagnosed with as a child? I have some choices for you, unless you just know them.
I think it was the severe scoliosis. She was the aluminum monster for a while.
That is correct. To stay with Sweet D, what is the name of the semi-retarded rapper that she dates?
Lil Kev.
Little Kev guy. What is Sweet D, Caitlin Olsen? Who is she married to in real life? Do you know?
Rob McElhenney, yeah.
So she's married to Mac. I don't think a lot of people know that they're actually married in real life.
A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people probably don't know that Charlie's married to the waitress. And also a fun trivia that definitely people don't know. Dennis's wife, Glenn Howerton's wife, is on the show. In one episode, she plays Kaylee, the pharmacy girl in the dentist system.
I didn't know that forever. My brother is who got me onto Always Sunny, told me that. Because when I had heard some of the other things, like Charlie was married to the waitress and stuff like that, and found it hilarious. But then he told me, actually, Dennis's wife makes a little cameo in here.
And I believe Danny DeVito's daughter is on an episode in season 2.
Speaking of the dentist system, do you know? So here's some of it. It's demonstrate value, engage physically, nurturing dependence, neglect emotionally, and inspire hope. Do you know what the S stands for in the dentist system?
Separate entirely.
So you do know a little Always Sunny, huh?
I went to somebody sent me a link to a Sunny trivia contest at this bar restaurant in Cleveland. So I figured I'd go up and try it, and there was like 60 teams, and I ended up winning the whole thing.
Really?
I think I got 39 out of 40 right.
What'd you get for winning?
I think I got a $40 gift card. I don't know that. I think it was emailed to me, although I don't think that I'm gonna go back to that place. I didn't really know much about it. I literally went to just win it.
It was I was about to say it was really just more for winning the Always Sunny trivia, not really the gift card.
I wanted to go there and show people that they're not as big of fans as I am.
All right, so I wanted to get on a few other things. Like what I think I saw on your bio that you're a John Mayer fanatic.
I am a diehard, to the point where I have his lyrics actually tattooed on my arm.
Really? Lyrics to which song?
It's actually the title of the song, called "If I Ever Get Around to Living."
Okay, so I swear, like I don't know. I've never been. I've been to Cleveland once. I've been around there, but you're like my long lost brother. Like the other two that usually join me on this podcast, are huge. My dad and my brother, they are huge John Mayer fans and got me into it a long time ago. I can remember, I think the first time I really got into it was, I was like in 5th grade or so, and it was Gravity from the John Mayer Trio album. I was doing the Trio one, and I just was in the car singing "Oh Where the Light Is" over and over and over again. And that's when my dad realized, I think I got him hooked.
Oh, I'm just a diehard fan.
What's your favorite John Mayer album? If you had to pick just one.
That's so tough. I think it's almost unfair for me to try to pick one, but if you were making me do that, I like Battle Studies a lot. Okay.
Well, I normally, a question I like to ask guests a lot, and you're probably going to pick, I would guess, one of the John Mayer albums, if not more, but you're stranded on an island. You have 3 albums that you can take with you. That's it. Out of the whole music industry, you get 3 albums. What's your 3 albums going to be?
Oh, this is a great one. All right, well, I'll just pick one John Mayer for the sake of letting people know that I do have other interests. So, excuse me. I'll say Battle Studies.
Okay.
Or Born and Raised, one of those 2. I would then probably pick Blink-182's Take Off Your Pants and Jacket.
Well, okay. I like where we're going.
Yep, and I'd probably pick Yellow Card's Ocean Avenue.
Okay. Let's go with, on this island, you also get 3 movies. Just 3. It can be any genre, anything you want. What's your 3 movies going to be?
All right, I would bring The Wolf of Wall Street.
Okay.
Absolutely love it.
Get some Leo in there.
Get a little Leo in there, yeah. I would bring... wow, that's a good question. Let's see. 3 movies. You know what? I'll limit it to 2 because it's too hard for me to pick 3. The other one I would pick is The Breakfast Club. Probably my favorite movie of all time. Okay,
there we go. That's a solid. And you're getting 2 completely different eras of movie making.
Right.
I like what you're doing there. I wanted to wrap up some of this with, have you actually talked with Sam Levitt? Like, has he somehow contacted you at all? Because I saw he tweeted, "It should be noted that my college friends watched It's Always Sunny all the time, and clearly I never paid attention." And then put the video Barstool put out. Have you talked with him at all?
He tweeted at me. I think at the time that he tweeted at me, I didn't. It was in the moment or moments that everyone was tweeting at me. Right. So I didn't really have a chance to figure out who each and every person was. I was just trying to respond to as many people as possible. But I then went back and realized, oh, that's the dude that actually said it out loud on the air. I think I just favorited it. I should go back and respond to it if I haven't. But yeah, he tweeted at me. That's the only interaction. I'll figure out something clever to say to him. All
right, for the last question of this interview, I wanted to ask you, Eli, now that Netflix has taken off Always Sunny in Philadelphia and broke all of our hearts, do you have a way of getting your fix for the show, or what were your thoughts when Netflix took off Always Sunny? Are you still able to?
Well, when Netflix did that, I threw a fit. I don't know if anybody trolled my earlier Twitter posts, but for about 2 weeks straight, every tweet I tweeted was a dig at Netflix. I was tagging them. I had it in my bio for a while. I think it said something along the lines of like extremely butthurt that Netflix took It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia off. And so then somebody DM'd me a Hulu account. And I don't know if they DM'd me it because they were interested in my tweets or because they wanted me to shut up on Twitter. But they sent me their Hulu account. So
a random person or someone you know?
Somebody I know. Yeah.
Oh, okay. It might have been just a quit your bitching on Netflix or Twitter and.
Yeah. I don't know what it was for, but I've been using that to get my Sunny fix because I was 2 seconds away from going on Amazon and buying every season.
And on that note, man, I appreciate you coming on, and good luck in the season. Hopefully I can come watch you pitch when you come down and play Arkansas. And good luck
thank
on the
you.
rest of the season.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And now I'm happy to be joined by the other half of this viral moment of the past weekend, Sam Levitt, the man who was doing the play-by-play for the game between Sam Houston State and Kent State, where you brought up a few things on Eli's bio that people recorded and made a video of and really took off. And as a fellow journalist and someone who spent a little bit of time in the field, I really felt for you because you were really just doing your due diligence and looking up someone and really having some stuff for this pitcher getting ready for the game when there's a dull moment, which there could be an opening weekend of Sam Houston State versus Kent State. And you know what? I'll just let you tell me how it all went down.
Well, it was kind of funny the way it happened. A lot going on. It's opening night. You're looking for a lot of different information from different guys. And on a night like this, and just keep in mind, this is the only Kent State game I'll do all year. So you look at different things. You look at different stats. You go into their player pages. You go into their bios. I can't remember whether I read Eli's bio on the website before the game, but I certainly went on there, whatever it was, during the fourth inning, and went on, looked, and saw this kind of weird stuff. Now, of course, I didn't know at the time, as you can tell from the clip, that it was from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I just saw this kind of weird stuff in it, and obviously I knew it was some sort of spoof, some sort of joke going on, but I obviously didn't know it was from the show, and I just started reading it because I thought it was funny. It was a pretty standard game to that point. It's the fourth inning. You're trying to entertain the audience. And, luckily I played it pretty well and didn't think much of it until the next day when Eli posted it. And then it took off and got picked up by a number of different places. And all these It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia fans thought it was the greatest thing ever. So I had absolutely no idea that it was from the show or that it would blow up like it did until midday on Saturday, well after the game was over. And once Eli posted it, I really had no clue. I was at lunch with somebody on Saturday and I didn't check my phone for an hour or two. And I get back in my car and I take out my phone and it just was blowing up. So it was pretty crazy to see and pretty ironic. I really had no idea. I was just reading some information I thought was funny, and I knew it was a joke. And luckily, I played it pretty well, and luckily, people enjoyed it. So I'm happy they did.
Well, and that's what actually me and Eli were talking about it, and he said that one, obviously, he had no clue you even said it because during the game he's not aware of that at all. But then he had a friend of his who texted him. Maybe I think he said about 2 hours after the game. He had a friend that texted him and said, "Hey, did you hear what the play-by-play guy said about you?" And he was like, no clue. And they videoed it on their phone and sent it to him. And so he tweeted it, and still he was cracking up because he knew exactly what it was and he thought it was funny. He didn't know. He said he tweeted the video out, and then less than an hour later, he said he couldn't use his phone. Like literally, his phone was between Twitter notifications, people texting him, everything else. And he really was like, I really need to thank Sam for the way he did it, whether he didn't know if you did it on purpose or not, but it's like the way he did it on air did it complete justice for any listener.
Yeah. No, it was a totally genuine reaction and read of it. It's what I saw and I went with it and I read it like I saw it. I mean, it's funny. I saw a few Twitter and Instagram comments, saying that the announcer kind of took the L, like I actually was reading it seriously. Obviously I knew there was a joke going on in it. I didn't know that it was from the show, but I'm glad I read it and I'm glad I kind of played the straight man, in the joke. And I think people enjoyed that and it became part of why it was funny. All I did was take the bait that was in the bio. And I guess Eli and whoever works in the Kent State athletic department and put that in there had been waiting someday for somebody to read it and somebody to use it and kind of fall into the trap, if you will. And I was the guy who took the bait. And but all the credit really goes to Eli. He's the guy who posted it, and that tweet really took off once it was picked up by Barstool and all the different places. So he deserves just as much of the credit. He got it out there.
Well, see, and that's what the funny thing about it is when he was describing it to me is that he was a sophomore and it was like 2 years ago, and there was a fifth-year senior that he was good friends with on the team, and they both, I think they were watching Always Sunny in Philadelphia and watching the episode where they reference that exact part. And
right.
And the guy was like, hey, I bet you won't put that in your bio. And so Eli was just like, no one reads these, whatever. And he texted his SID and asked if he could put it in. The SID said, sure, no problem, whatever. And he said he honestly hasn't thought about it since. It was really just he screenshotted on the thing and sent it to his friend, and that was it. And then hasn't thought about it at all until you read it on the air. And he just – it's funny because my brother, who also does this podcast with me, he has heard it, and as soon as he heard you say, I think you mentioned the first part, you teed it up perfectly where you mentioned his hobbies with the guitar, and then you just go, well, I'm just going to read it word for word what he has here. He enjoys magnets, And
yeah. It was pretty funny. The really funny part about it is I'm not a huge TV guy. I don't watch a ton of shows. So for a lot of this kind of stuff, I mean, I love Seinfeld and certain shows I know really, really well. But most really, really popular and like culty shows, I don't know that well. But it's funny because my friends in college, they used to watch It's Always Sunny all the time. And I tweeted about this and it got picked up a little bit. I mean, they would watch it all the time when we were sitting around. And, honestly, like I never really, like I was doing something else. I was on my laptop. I never paid attention. So it's just funny how things come full circle. And, and it ended up being, something that a lot of people saw. But, I mean, I'm with Eli. I wouldn't have thought about it again. And, it's funny, actually, I never really found this out. I think the first thing I said about the guitar, I think that's actually true. I think Eli really does take his guitar a lot of places and play guitar. That was not from his bio. I think that was from their game.
Well,
notes.
that was true. That's what he was surprised that you knew true. That. But he's a big guitar guy.
So that was the setup. That was the setup to me just reading it straight off. But again, I'm really glad I played it off relatively well. Happy to be kind of the serious guy in the situation. And I had a couple of people, who I'm friends with and who watched it and saw it. I had a couple of people say to me, the way you read it and the way you played it was as big of a part of why it was really, really funny. So, I'm glad I played it well.
It was. And I like what you brought up is that people, and I saw some of the same, like when I clicked on the tweet and I just was reading what some of the people responded to it. And they were like, oh, major L by the play-by-play guy and all this stuff. Like you knew even if you didn't know it was Always Sunny, you knew something was up with this, but the way you read it was just it went back to the episode. Well, it was great. I really you and Eli together, and y'all had no clue this was happening, but it was great all around.
No, for sure. Yeah, it was crazy because I truly had no clue until he posted that. I would have never, if he would have never posted it, I would have never ever have known that the whole thing was from that show and kind of one big spoof altogether. So I'm glad he posted it, and I'm glad it took off the way it did. It was pretty cool for a couple days.
Who would have thought that? I mean, you sat down. It was before he was the ace for the Astros, but you sat down with Dallas Keuchel. But what you've gone viral for is not that, but it's It's calling Kent State Sam Houston on a random opening day weekend. Crazy how the world works, man.
Well, yeah, it's funny what what people want to watch, but no, I'm happy that it got out there, and as they say, I guess any publicity is good publicity. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but in this case, the publicity was welcomed, and I'm happy people thought it was so funny. I really am. I think that is my favorite part of this whole thing. Is that these fans of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, it seems like they think truly this is the greatest thing ever. Like they were loving it, as I'm sure you saw in the comments on Instagram and Twitter. And I mean, they thought it was hilarious. Man, I watched the show. So I mean, at a certain level to me, I'm kind of like, I guess it's super funny, but I'm glad they thought so. I really am.
It was great. And even y'all had some play from Charlie Day, who's the actor in the show, who that was based off of. He even put it on his Instagram and said, "Well done." And y'all got some big play out of things, and it's just like you said, you had no clue what you were getting yourself into, but you kind of got yourself into a culty following there, and the fans loved it.
Yeah, well, I did know that beforehand, just from the people I knew who watched it. That it was a very a very loyal following show. It's it has been on the air for a while, but I know people really binge watch it and really enjoy it and follow it and love those characters. So, I'm glad people found it so funny and found it enjoyable for sure.
Well, Sam, I'm going to let you get out of here on that note, and I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down with us, and I wish you best of luck going forward, and hopefully you go viral for something different than that next time.
Yeah, right. That would be nice, like a big time call, big time game, big time
something
call.
Actually related to the
that
game.
Would be ideal, but for now, I'll take it. Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it.
All right, and that was Sam Levitt, who made the call that went viral last weekend for opening weekend of baseball when Eli Krause was on the mound. And I really hope you enjoyed these interviews with Eli and Sam to kind of see the guys behind the video that all of us loved. And I hope you enjoyed this little snippet, and please stay tuned to the Just Press Play pod. If you have any comments or anything you want to say, just find us on Twitter at JPP Podcast, or find us on Facebook at Just Press Play Pod. Please don't forget to subscribe and rate us and give us a review. We love to hear from y'all, and if you got something to say about one of us, just let us know, and we'd love to read it on the air. For LJ Luthringer, Lifford Luthringer, and myself, Kevin Luthringer, peace out.